Uh, my friend and Secretary IT, Sri Rajesh Agrawal, distinguished panelist on the dais, and also our distinguished members of the audience. It's good that Rajesh suggested that okay, let us ask what people want to hear, because we have so much heard about Aadhaar during last about 3 years. That I don't really know that from where to start and where to end, and therefore your questions have given a good perspective. You see, basically, I will briefly. I hope that everybody knows what is Aadhaar, because I believe that in this hall, maybe at least how many people, how many of you have actually enrolled for Aadhaar? Can you just raise your hands? So I believe that more than 50% of people have actually enrolled for Aadhaar. Or at least, if you have not enrolled for Aadhaar, then, at least you know somebody in the family or friend who has enrolled for Aadhaar. So generally know what is Aadhaar, what is the enrollment process. We collect all, 10 fingerprints and iris, and then we deduplication and do this, right? So therefore, I would not go into that detail. Basically, and you would also know that Aadhaar is basically giving to every resident of India a kind of a biometric identity, unique identity, which is quite different from any other form of identity prevailing in our country. And this is a unique in the sense that it is based on your biometric, it is deduplicated, and meaning thereby that if you, after having got your Aadhaar number, if you go anywhere else and try to re-enroll on a different name, you should be rejected. Right, so therefore, it's not like the ration card, that you get a ration card made in Mumbai and then you move to Delhi and then again get another ration card. Or same thing about the voter ID. So it is not possible now, right? So that is one. And secondly, this, I don't know how many of you are aware that this Aadhaar also, this enrollment and giving you Aadhaar number or Aadhaar letter or card, whatever you may call, is just a one part of the whole scheme. The other most important is that, Aadhaar online authentication. I mean, imagine, everyone, I think every one of you would have a PAN card, right? Now, that PAN card, if it has a number, but supposing somebody tells you that, no, your PAN card is bogus. How do you prove that, across the counter? How do you prove that? That, no, it's not a bogus, it is actually a PAN card issued by the Income Tax Department. So then, you have to go to the Income Tax Authority and then get a letter saying that, yes, this is the actual, this is the real PAN card. Somebody can say that even that letter itself is a bogus. What do you do? So, but in case of Aadhaar, there is a system of online authentication. I mean, you enter your Aadhaar number and the fingerprint on a mobile device and or on the any device connected onto the internet or GSM or whatever CDMA network or whatever GPRS, and you get a response from the UIDAI server in few seconds whether indeed you are the person whom you are claiming to be. So this authentication, then entire this the banking, direct benefit transfers, and other thing, everything will be built on this infrastructure of Aadhaar and Aadhaar authentication. Having said that, now about the questions were asked about the Aadhaar enrollment progress, how many people are there, what is our target. So I'll give you briefly. We started Aadhaar enrollment in the entire country on September 29th, 2010. It was launched, in fact, from Maharashtra, Nandurbar district, by Honorable Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and the Chairman UPA Sonia Gandhi on September 29, 2010. So roughly we have around 2.5 years into this game. In 2.5 years, we have enrolled approximately so far 42 crore of people. So if you see, we have covered more than 1/3 of our country in 2.5 years. And, we had built up our capacity to, handle at the back end something like, 1 million enrollments a day. But during last few weeks, our enrollment has gone up to 1.5 million, that is 15 lakhs a day. And that is in fact creating a problem of surplus or plenty, because our back end was geared only to handle 1 million a day. So now we have to quickly ramp up our back end capacity also, so that we can handle 1.5 million new enrollments every day. Now, when I'm saying that, you have to handle 1.5 new enrollments every day, process 1.5 million enrollments every day, what does it mean? See, whenever you enroll, all your fingerprints and iris, biometrics, they are compared against the entire database of everyone who has enrolled before. Now, for example, today you go and enroll, then, your biometric will be compared against the biometric of entire 42 crore people. And only when, your biometrics are not found, you will be issued Aadhaar number. Now, if we are enrolling 1.5 million people every day, then every day we must compare each of those 1.5 million with, each of those 42 crore people. So, therefore, you can understand that the number of comparisons that you have to do is 15 lakhs multiplied by 42 crores, 10 fingerprints multiplied by 10, and 2 iris multiplied by 12. So this much comparison has to be done. This much comparison has to be done in one day. I mean, many of you are from IT sector or even otherwise you are exposed to the field of, IT. This is a massive challenge. And this is something which is being done. In fact, we should be very proud of that. At least in our country, we have a facility like this, which does that. So now, what next then? Now, 42 crore is the national scenario. 42 crore we have done. When we started this program, we had said that within 4 to 5 years, we will do 60% of the population. So now, you can judge that, in 2.5 years, we have done more than 1/3. And we hope that by the end of by the end of this financial year, we will reach something like 60 crores. So basically, if you see that in about less than 4 years, 3.5 years or so, we will be covering 50% of the population. So we are quite on track. I would say that we are a little ahead on track so far as the UID enrollment is concerned. So this is something which is, in the days when we are used to listening the timeline slippages, project slippages and so, perhaps, this is one of the very few government programs where at least, things, insofar as the enrollment is concerned, the enrollment is on the track. Now coming to Maharashtra. Now, when we are saying 42 crores enrollment all over the country, Maharashtra has a major share. Maharashtra has almost done about 6 crores enrollment. Imagine. Maharashtra population in the entire country is roughly 10%. Okay. Now, entire country enrollment is 42 crores. Maharashtra is something like, more than 6 crores enrollment. So Maharashtra has a major share in doing this. And in fact, I would like to congratulate, Maharashtra team led by our friend Rajesh Agarwal, who has worked tirelessly. And in fact, few collectors are also here. I mean, they have worked, tirelessly to bring Maharashtra to this stage where, total enrollment is almost crossing 6 crores. And today, this Maharashtra, so far as the state registrar is concerned, it is the highest in the country. They have done the highest enrollment, and so far as the state is concerned, see, Andhra Pradesh is just marginally higher. I believe it is just a question of few weeks when, Maharashtra will cross Andhra Pradesh and will become the state with the largest UID enrollments. So that is the situation. Then one of the audience asked that, how many people are remaining? Naturally, if you have covered, 42 crores, then the remaining population will need to be covered. And by 2014 March, we intend to cover 60 crores. And what we feel is that with recent government, announcement of direct benefit transfers, some kind of a momentum has come. And if this momentum is sustained, then it is my estimate that in next 3 to 4 years, the entire country will be covered. I'll give you an example. I had gone to Malaysia because there are only very few countries in the world, countries with a significant amount of population in the world where, something of this kind has been tried. So, I was in Malaysia in the month of January this year, and in Malaysia, they had done, the kind of UID based on 2 fingerprints, and, in order to cover a population of 3 crores, they took 7 years. Now here you have a Maharashtra has done 6 crores in 2.5 years. with, all 10 fingerprints, iris, and, everything there, right? So therefore, I mean, this, what is being done is definitely not a, a small achievement. And then the beauty is that in this whole game, it's not only the UIDAI. We have a state registrar. We also have a, many non-state registrar, basically the banks and the financial institutions. They are also enrolling. For example, State Bank of India is again one of the largest registrar. Union Bank of India, they are again one of the Central Bank of India. They are, then other banks. They are so in the entire ecosystem, everybody has come together. And then, they are working for a common cause, and which has, brought us to this situation. So this is about the enrollment part. Now about the direct benefit transfers and the financial inclusion, you are aware that, you must have read in the newspaper that the government has said that, in 51 districts, now another 78 districts have been added, where certain identified government programs, particularly the scholarship schemes, old age pensions, and also the LPG, will be now linked to the, Aadhaar. Now, in last month there was a meeting in Vigyan Bhavan, and our finance minister, he said there are 3 pillars of this whole direct benefit transfer. One is the list of the beneficiary, and secondly is the Aadhaar enrollment, and then the bank account. All 3 have to be linked, and I am very glad that today on the dais all 3 pillars are present here. And I believe that today whatever there are internal issues, through this panel discussions and through your questions and your feedback, I believe many of those issues will be clearer, and then we will be clear about our own roles and what we need to do. So basically, the direct benefit transfer, I will give you, I will not take more time. I will give you just one example, that how much it empowers a person. I have a domestic help in my house. She is a widow, and she came to my house for work for about 2.5 years. And then I didn't know that, naturally, I didn't ask that, what were her past and what was the problem. Now, suddenly, she got a piece of paper from the EPFO saying that, her husband used to work in some LPG gas distributor as a delivery boy in a private sector, and he had passed away. And then as a widow, she was supposed to get pension and then the provident fund and then, the other benefits. Now for last 3 years, that poor lady, she was not getting. And finally she got a letter saying that, your application has been rejected. And when I saw that letter, it was written in English, which she could not understand. And basically, she did not have the bank account, right? Now imagine, because she did not have the bank account, they said that, your application can't be processed. And they took 3 years to respond to that. I said that looks so simple. Imagine. And this was the time during the last 3 years, she needed perhaps the most benefit. She is a small child. She needed then I said that look, she had already got her Aadhaar card made. So I wanted to try an experiment. I could have always phoned, perhaps one of you, and then you would have opened her bank account. I said that, look, what do? You go with your children to any bank with your Aadhaar card and get your account opened. She walked into, SBI Madam Kama Road, and within few minutes her account was opened. And then, she filled in the application, and then this application was submitted to the EPFO, and then her pension and everything was sanctioned. Now imagine this is the kind of power that, it places Aadhaar into this. So the direct benefit transfer and, the benefits which can flow through this, the amount of empowerment, particularly to the underprivileged class. Perhaps, Aadhaar and the direct benefit transfers may not impact us. Maybe LPG subsidy of 500 rupees, till that is there, that will come to us. But ultimately, the people, who are living in the rural areas, people who are illiterate, people who are living in slums, the children, the underprivileged, they will be, empowered, and this is the kind of a revolution which is getting made in our country. Yesterday, Rajesh mentioned that, one circular of the RBI, that, 10th December circular of the RBI, that if anyone walks to any bank branch with an Aadhaar card, no question asked, and you have to open the bank account, right? I mean, that is a, I mean, this is something, which is a very, very landmark and, order which RBI has issued, and, in furtherance of the entire scheme of, Aadhaar and its benefit and direct benefit transfers. Now here, all bank panelists are there, NPCI is also here. When we tried in our phase 1, I will also narrate some of my experience in phase 1, perhaps, here the bankers are here. In phase 1, Rajesh also would share the same experience. In phase 1, when we were trying to, transfer money to the beneficiaries' bank accounts, first of all, the list wasn't there. With the great difficulty, the list was prepared. Then their bank accounts got opened. Then, the bank account, was linked to the beneficiary list. And then, we got their Aadhaar numbers. Now, after having done that, when, the list is being sent to the banks, that time, I mean, there is no reason when, the banks are being given the list of, the Aadhaar number and the, the bank account numbers, right? And when we are certifying that, this is the true Aadhaar number, basically what you have to do is you have to see the account number and match the name and other things, and then, basically link and load it to the NPCI so that, the direct benefit can go. Perhaps, the banks have to improve their own internal, because, I think, it does take some time to do that. But I believe, in the bank, if you can, streamline the system, this will be, the third pillar, because third pillar is you, right? The banks are the third pillar. And perhaps, if you can do this, that, account opening, yes, you should proactively open accounts. And then, whoever comes to you with the Aadhaar number, please upload that onto the NPCI. Or if you get a list from the state governments, please upload that onto NPCI so that, the DBT transfers can take place. Same thing about the LPG. That program will not succeed unless and until, the LPG beneficiary list is also seeded into the bank account. Otherwise, where will the money go? So with these words, I will, end here, and maybe, later on with your questions, we can always respond. Thank you.